Hello, friends. Today, I will tell you about Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that is becoming popular again in our time. We will learn what this teaching is, why it is so attractive, and how it helps people cope with difficulties. Let's begin our fascinating journey into the world of the Stoics. You've probably heard phrases like peace of mind or accepting life as it is. These wise thoughts came to us from Stoic philosophers who lived in ancient Rome and Greece in the 4th century BCE. The founder of Stoicism is Zeno of Citium. Zeno was a merchant who, after a shipwreck, lost all his property and found solace in philosophy. He founded a school where he taught his followers. His students held classes in the painted Stoa, a famous building in Athens adorned with beautiful frescoes. The Stoa is a long colonnade that served as a place for walks and philosophical discussions. Because of this Stoa, Zeno's followers were called Stoics. What are the main ideas of Stoicism? This philosophy teaches us that everything in the world is subject to logic, physics, and ethics. Here's how it works. Logic is like the fence of a garden. It helps us reason correctly and make the right decisions. Physics is the soil in which the garden grows. It explains how the world works. Ethics is the fruit of the garden. It teaches us how to be good and happy people. An interesting fact: Stoics believe that everything in the world, even our passions and emotions, is material. They divided everything into active and passive elements. God is the active element that creates everything from passive matter. Let's go through everything in order. Logic. Stoic logic was one of the most developed in antiquity. The Stoics developed many rules for correct thinking and proofs. They introduced the concept of cataleptic perception, a special type of perception that is reliable and true. Zeno believed that judgments should be verified by logic to avoid errors and misconceptions. Logic helped the Stoics build their reasoning and achieve wisdom. But how did this work in practice? The Stoics developed a complex system for analyzing and verifying judgments. They believed that for a judgment to be true, it must correspond to reality and be justified. Here are some key principles they used. 1. Syllogisms. The Stoics used syllogisms, logical conclusions consisting of two premises and a conclusion. For example, if all humans are mortal and Socrates is a human, then Socrates is mortal. 2. Contradiction checking. They looked for contradictions in judgments. If two judgments contradict each other, at least one of them is false. This helped the Stoics identify and eliminate errors in reasoning. 3. Definition of concepts. The Stoics carefully defined concepts to avoid ambiguity and confusion. They believed that clear definitions help better understand the world and avoid mistakes. 4. Cataleptic perception. The Stoics introduced the concept of cataleptic perception, which they considered reliable and true. This perception fully corresponds to reality and cannot be refuted. The Stoics strove for such perceptions to build their reasoning on a reliable foundation. For example, if you see a red apple on a table in good lighting from a close distance, you can be sure that it is indeed an apple and not, say, a plastic toy or an image on a screen. Cataleptic perception is reliable knowledge that helps us make correct conclusions and make justified decisions. Physics. Stoic physics is original and complex. They believe that everything in the world is material, including the soul and emotions. The Stoics divided existence into active and passive principles. The active principle is God, the creator and organizer of everything, and the passive principle is the matter from which everything is created. An interesting fact: the Stoics believe that even things like passions have a material nature. They considered emotions to be bodily changes occurring in us due to incorrect perception. The Stoics thought that our emotions are the results of false beliefs. For example, fear and sadness arise when we misunderstand what evil is, and pleasure and passion appear due to incorrect notions of good. That is why the Stoics strove for apathy, a state of the soul where complete self-control reigns. Chrysippus, one of the early Stoics, identified 4 types of emotions: fear, sadness, passion, and pleasure. Fear and sadness, in his opinion, are rooted in false notions of evil, and pleasure and passion are based on incorrect notions of good. Ethics. This principle greatly influenced everyone from slaves to emperors. The Stoics believed that to be happy, a person needs to live in accordance with nature and reason. They identified four main virtues. Wisdom. This is the ability to judge things correctly and make the right decisions. Wisdom includes knowing what is good and what is bad, as well as understanding the nature of things and events. The Stoics believe that wisdom helps a person live in harmony with themselves and the world. Courage. Courage is the ability to remain calm and steadfast in the face of difficulties and dangers. This virtue helps a person overcome fears and uncertainties, act decisively and justly even in difficult situations. Temperance. Temperance is the ability to control one's desires and emotions, not to fall into extremes and excesses. The Stoics believe that temperance helps maintain inner balance and harmony, avoid passions and dependencies. Justice. Justice is the ability to act honestly and fairly towards others. This virtue includes respect for the rights and dignity of others, striving for the common good, and willingness to help those in need. These virtues help a person overcome passions and find true happiness. An interesting fact: the Stoics believe that happiness does not depend on external circumstances. Even a slave could be happy if he lives in accordance with nature and reason. That is, with physics and logic. Interesting facts about Stoics and Stoicism. The Stoics were the first to discuss the idea of world citizenship. They believe that all people are citizens of the world and equal before God. Stoicism influenced many famous individuals, including Nelson Mandela and U.S. President Thomas Jefferson. Modern psychologists use Stoic methods, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, to treat anxiety and depression. I want to introduce you to the three most famous Stoics in history who left us with many wise thoughts. Seneca. Seneca was the tutor of Emperor Nero. He taught that to be happy, one needs to have just enough. His famous quote is, "Poor is not the one who has little, but the one who wants more." Seneca also said that happiness requires very little, and this is available to everyone. He emphasized that wealth does not make a person happy, but often brings more problems. Epictetus. Epictetus was a slave, but his thoughts on the freedom of the soul became the foundation for many Stoic teachings. He asserted that slavery is a state of mind, not a physical condition. All people are equal because they are all children of God. Epictetus taught that happiness lies in freely playing one's role in life, even if this role is difficult. Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome, but despite his high position, he remained true to Stoic principles. In his reflections, he wrote about love for humanity and adherence to divine laws. He believed that everything in the world is subject to a single law, and our duty is to live in harmony with this law. You might say this is a philosophy of the past. No, today's Stoicism is more popular than ever. Many people find comfort and support in this philosophy during difficult times. The Stoics teach us how to maintain calm and self-control despite external circumstances. This philosophy helps us cope with difficulties and achieve happiness by living in harmony with nature and reason. In the next video, I will tell you how Stoicism helps make decisions in difficult situations, how it contributes to finding balance in life, and helps better understand people and their actions. Thank you for listening to our story about Stoicism. I hope you learned a lot of new and interesting things. If you liked it, please like and share this story with your friends.